Hello and welcome to Anxiety Hacks. I'm your host, Kate Hudson-Hall, and thank you to everybody for listening. So I am an anxiety therapist, an eating disorders therapist, and also an author. And recently I have written my new book, which is also called Anxiety Hacks. And there's many, many different ways to be able to help you, packed in the book, to be able to begin to break your difficult anxiety behaviors. So there's lots of different techniques and tools and tips to be able to start to address your anxiety and break those patterns. And also within the course, there is a companion course. Also within the book, there's a companion course, which is a free course, which contains many videos of me showing you how to do the techniques throughout the book, and lots of other information, downloadable tables and other information in the book. So if you're interested and would like to check it out, then if you hop on to Amazon, and the book is called Anxiety Hacks. Now, our guest today is Mark Stubbles. Now, Mark is an award-winning clinical hypnotherapist. He's a master practitioner of NLP and also a mindfulness practitioner. He has produced several highly rated online courses, which we want to learn about. And he's helped many clients to stop smoking, to lose weight, to increase confidence. And as someone who suffered with chronic anxiety, using hypnotherapy to help people overcome anxiety and depression is his passion. So, Mark, thank you so much for joining us.
Hello, Kate. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so tell everybody where you are living at the moment. So you're from the UK, but you're living in...
I'm from the UK, yeah, Slough, near Windsor. And right now I'm in Albania.
In Albania. Mm. And so you've been traveling around?
Yes.
The last 2 years?
Yep, been all around the Balkans.
Wow. What fantastic experiences.
Mm-hmm.
So, Mark, tell us about your journey with anxiety and what kind of led you down to become a therapist.
Okay, so I grew up with quite a dysfunctional family, quite a narcissistic family, and caused me to become quite dysfunctional.
Funnily enough.
Yeah, like all children, we're looking to our parents and caregivers to help us understand the world, understand, ourselves. And if there's a lot of dysfunction in that environment, a child's going to internalize it. They're going to think it means there's something wrong with them. Also, you're looking to your parents. They're like gods. Whatever they tell you, you take as the truth. So if they're calling your names, putting you down, you're going to internalize that. And, that's going to create your self-image. You're going to get a negative inner voice that's going to continually call your names, put you down. So I had a lot of problems, and got married very young. When I was 21, I got married after someone I'd only known about 6 months.
Right.
And the relationship lasted 7 years. And we had a child when I think I was about 24. And kind of went downhill after that. So I left. I went back to live with my grandparents, and lost everything in the divorce. And then my ex-wife decided that she wanted to leave the country with our daughter. So then that created a 5-year legal battle, which cost hundreds of thousands of pounds, caused me lots of anxiety, and probably, yeah, I mean, quite a traumatic experience.
Oh
Probably,
gosh, I could imagine it would have been so difficult.
yeah. And living every every day, every time I saw my daughter, I never knew if I would never see her again. And she used to just stop my daughter coming to stay with me, and then we'd have to go back to court, and it was a nightmare. So yeah, after 5 years of that, I had PTSD,
Yeah.
and then I got in another relationship with someone who I tried finishing that, and she started stalking me. So I started looking at my situation, and why I'd kind of gotten into this mess, and my family. Things started happening in my family. As I said, I was living with my grandparents. My grandparents had become quite frail by that point. So, I was caring for them. And there were tensions within the family. And I suppose, as I said, I'd always internalized it, felt there was something wrong with me. I used to kind of completely black out, have memory lapses, and all kinds of issues. And I thought that I was mad or something. But it wasn't until, as I said, I was looking after my grandparents, and then the family started kind of kicking off, that I started to realize that it's not me, it's them.
Yeah.
And that was really when I started to kind of work on myself, to start to overcome the issues and stop getting in dysfunctional relationships. And although the relationships, as I said, they weren't good, finishing them always caused me problems. The women that I've met were kind of normal enough for me to see that my family wasn't. So yeah, that's Did that answer your question?
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting. You said you felt that you were going mad, but I remember that's how I explained it when I had bulimia, when I was in my started when I was in my late teens. But because I had no knowledge, I didn't know what was going on, and I just thought, well, this is me. I'm just going crazy. I'm just going mad.
Yeah.
And it's really distressing because you don't understand anything about yourself and why you're behaving the way you're behaving, until you start to turn inward and start to unravel all of what specifically has happened to you and what's going on, and working through it.
Yes. Yeah. I think inner child issues are the root of, well, most people's problems. And healing inner child work is, I did a lot of hypnosis to be more confident, to reduce my anxiety, but it wasn't until probably maybe 3 years ago, when I really started doing a lot of inner child work, that I started to notice the greatest improvements.
Yeah. And so with your clients, so you work with inner child work.
Yes.
And so for people that don't know what that means, can you explain that?
Well, I have a 4-week program, and on the program, I've based it a lot on John Bradshaw's work. I don't know if you've read of or heard heard of any John Bradshaw books or read any of John Bradshaw, but it involves writing letters to the inner child, writing letters from the inner child to the adult self, sharing those letters with the group. And then at the end of every session, we have a hypnosis session to connect with the inner child and reintegrate the inner child. So the purpose of the program is really to separate yourself from, the dysfunction that you've internalized, to release the toxic shame that you've internalized, to reconnect with your inner child, to make your inner child feel safe and secure, to feel loved, because we need good enough parents as children, and most people don't have good enough parents. Everyone has their own trauma issues. All parents are just human. They have their own problems. So they're not able to give the child the unconditional love and unconditional acceptance that they need.
Yeah.
So yes.
So the course sounds fascinating. So it's an interactive course.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah, I also have a course on Udemy, which is kind of similar, but obviously just to do on your own. And it's the group program is, everyone gets involved. Everyone has time to share their letters and their own childhood experiences with the group.
Yeah, within I presume it's a small kind of safe group.
Yes, yeah. I try to limit the number of people to a maximum of 10.
Yeah.
So yeah,
that's good. And how long did you say the course was?
It's 4 weeks.
So 4 weeks. So that's so it's once a week.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
So that's good, because it's because so often people think that they're alone, in their specific issues, and by doing a course like this, then then they can meet other people and hear their experiences to sort of make them feel less alone.
Yeah, that is the feedback I often get. People say it's good to hear other people's experiences, and they thought they were the only one, and it's good to meet other people, and I realized that other people have had similar experiences to them.
Yeah. And in the course, because you're a hypnotherapist and you're a neuro-linguistic programming practitioner, master, and then you do other therapies as well. So do you combine these different therapies? What were the other therapies? You do CBT,
EFT.
So cognitive behavioral therapy, and then emotional freedom technique, all like that. So do you teach that?
Not really.
So emotional freedom technique, for people that don't know, is a tapping on a routine of points while thinking about any negative feeling. You can reduce that down.
The idea is to unblock chi energy around the body. Chinese believe in chi energy, and so EFT involves tapping on meridian points around the body to release that chi energy. I mean, on the program, I give everyone who does the program a workbook. In the workbook, I've put the EFT recipe. On week 1, I ask people if they would like to see a demonstration. But yeah, I wouldn't really say I teach it as such. I just give the information.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I love EFT. And so then, so do you see clients one-to-one privately online?
I do, yes. Yeah, all sessions I do online since March 2020, March 2020. All sessions have been online. And yeah, I find it more effective because people are at home, they're in the comfort of their own homes, so they can be more relaxed. And yeah, also
It's much more easier accessible, isn't it?
yes, yeah. Also, people who experience anxiety, they may not want to go out and go to a therapy room to see someone they've never met before. So it's, as you say, a lot more accessible.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I think that's a very good point. People with anxiety, they struggle with all sorts of things, and one of them can be even venturing out the front doors, especially since COVID.
Mm-hmm.
It's really difficult for people. So if somebody connected with you and they wanted help with their anxiety on a one-to-one, so how would you help them?
That's
because everybody's different.
I give every week. I do workshops, group workshops, which advertise on Eventbrite. So usually my clients come through the workshops, so they've already got a kind of idea of what I do. And my workshops are usually focused on the inner child and inner child work. So they usually know that what I do is very much centered on inner child work.
Yeah.
So then I offer, if someone does one of my workshops, I offer a free 1 hour consultation. So people come for that. We talk about the problem they've been experiencing. I ask them, what their life's going to look like without the problem. How are they going to know when therapy's been successful? And then, what I do after that, it depends on the client. It depends on the problem. If it's kind of a standard anxiety client, I would book them in for the first session, email them the Zoom link and the Zoom info, and then again we would talk about the problem they've been facing, what's life going to look like when they don't have the problem. I say that I kind of focus a lot on inner child work, but it's done with a kind of solution-focused approach. Like I don't focus entirely on someone's past.
Absolutely, it's making a plan for the future and how you want to be in the future as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Because as I tell my clients, your mind can't tell the difference between a real or an imagined event. So just by visualizing yourself the way you want to be, you actually create new pathways in your brain.
Oh, I love it.
And you can start to become that person. So if someone has got a specific traumatic event, or if they've had a dysfunctional childhood, then I will use hypnosis to release any negative emotion from that event. Without having to relive the event, usually I use a technique called the rewind technique, which doesn't involve reliving traumatic memories.
Yeah.
Or inner child work to, as I said, help them visualize their inner child and to see, connect with their inner child, make their inner child feel safe and secure, and then to visualize themselves the way they want to be, and being more confident in situations that may have caused them issues in the past. So usually I sell the sessions in packs of 3. So it's a minimum of 3 sessions. And within those 3 sessions, I think maybe I've had one client who hasn't made an improvement out of, I don't know how many hundreds. One client
Amazing.
that I can think of,
Amazing.
hasn't reported an improvement. Everyone else does.
Oh, yes, I love it. I love it. And just briefly, Mark, so for people that don't understand, because people are very fearful of hypnosis.
Mm-hmm.
So could you explain it for people?
Well, hypnosis is a perfectly natural state that we all experience during the course of a day. You ever been watching TV, zoned out, what you were watching finished, and you realize it was time for bed, time had just flown by? That would be an example of hypnosis.
So it's a form of trance, isn't it? Because we're all in and out of trance every day, all day, aren't we? So
absolutely, constantly. People, I've forgotten his name, Richard Bandler said,
Richard Bandler.
We're always in trance. We're just going from one trance to another.
So Richard Bandler was one of the originals that created NLP, so neuro-linguistic programming.
Yeah. So yes, it's a perfectly natural state. It's not something I do to someone. It's something I do with someone, and I tell my clients that their unconscious mind is always listening, always looking to protect them and keep them safe. So at some point, that part of them will always be in control.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's about your conscious mind and then your unconscious mind, isn't it? And it's working with the unconscious mind in trance to start to reprogram it.
Yeah, absolutely. And Milton Erickson, one of the people that Richard Bandler and John Grinder followed to develop NLP, Milton Erickson was very big on the idea of the unconscious mind and the unconscious protector.
Yeah. So Milton Erickson was like the original hypnotherapist, wasn't he?
Yeah. Well, the kind of father of modern hypnotherapy. Before him, it was, Dave Ellman was a big name before him, but he was more, Milton Erickson was more permissive, whereas, before that it was instructional. They'd say, sit down, shut your eyes, shut up. Whereas Erickson used, the client.
Much more interactive, isn't it?
Yeah, more interactive. And he used the client's problem to help the client. So, he'd often, being a psychiatrist and a doctor, he could prescribe things, and he'd often prescribe people, their problem. Like if someone had insomnia, he'd tell them to try not to sleep. And, being a doctor, people would take his words as gospel and, try and do that. And obviously they'd sleep instead. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. So, okay. So how can people, Mark, how can they connect with you? So where would they find you?
They can go to my website, anxietyhypnotherapist.org. They can find me on YouTube, Mark Stubbles, Instagram, Stubbles. I have a Facebook group which is called Inner Child Healing Breaking Free from CPTSD.
Oh, fantastic. Oh, well, Mark, thank you so much for joining us. This has been really invaluable, but really insightful as well. There's a lot of different tools that you use, and it's drawing on those for the specific client.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for joining us. And thank you to everybody for listening, and make sure that you subscribe to the channel and show some love for your favorite podcast on whatever platform it is that you listen. And leave us a review would be fantastic. So thank you to everybody for listening, and I look forward to chatting with you in the next episode.